Hello everybody, welcome back to 10 Minute Reviews. Jason here bringing you today's video. So real fast, I don't want to make this too long for an intro, so I'm going to try and compress it. Thank you very much to our fans. Thank you very much to our patrons. Don't forget to check the links down below for links to today's book, any other applicable links. And don't forget to check the end of the videos for details on our contests. I'm going to be running a contest on the main channel, and I'm going to have a couple of contests on the Patreon. So don't forget to check that as well. Got a bunch of signed books and stuff that I want to give away. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and jump straight into today's video. Don't forget to check those links down below, guys. Got more information down there. Catch you soon. For today's video, we're going to talk about 2023 again. We're going to talk about my 10 favorite books or series from last year. I already did the video on the most popular from your guys' point of view, the videos you guys watch the most. Now I want to talk about my personal favorites. Now obviously I loved every book that I reviewed, otherwise I wouldn't have reviewed them, but this is just my top 10, I think. Let me count it real quick. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yep, my top 10 books. My personal top 10 favorite. Now, the first 9 are going to be in no particular order. There are no order whatsoever. The number one book was my favorite book throughout the entire year, but here we go. So, again, in no particular order, Mob Sorcery by K.D. Robertson. I should be reviewing the second book very, very soon if I haven't already. This was an awesome book. It was an awesome book. Kind of modern day-ish adjacent. I mean, we do have modern technology, a modern type of world, but the cities and the way the government works and things along those lines are definitely not modern. So it's not our world, but it's a modern day type of world. Technology-wise, it just also has magic and demons and elves and dwarves and kitsune and pretty much everything that you can name. And we're dealing with a small city that is, in a lot of ways, kind of disconnected from the rest of the way the government of the United States works, or of America works, in that it's heavily magic focused. It's kind of the hub of where a lot of the magic, the base, because they basically have magical technology, magic tech, and the base of that, the core of that, tends to flow from this city. So it gets away with a lot more that can't be gotten away with in other cities. And it's got some very interesting laws, which leads to the main character. So the main character is an enforcer. Now, he's basically just a magical warrior, in a way, a modern day magical warrior. But the enforcers, they can work for the cops, they can work for corporations, they can work independently, and they have to follow certain laws. They have to be registered, and they have to follow certain laws, certain rules as far as their fights go. But they can, an enforcer certainly can fight out in the open, in public, as long as civilians aren't involved and property damage is limited, stuff like that. And that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a main character who is an independent enforcer that is sort of sucked into a larger thing. Now, this being K.D. Robertson, it is of course harem-lit. I have to admit, I actually prefer this better than I prefer Neurowraith. Sorry, I didn't mean to go into a long thing on this one. I know I'm not just reviewing Mob Sorcery. So let me move on to the next one before I get sucked into this. Again, in no particular order. Next up, Alpha Warlock Academy by Noah Layton. This was a great, great, great book, and I actually need to look to see if any of the sequels have come out yet. Phenomenal book. Absolutely phenomenal book. We're dealing, I don't recall any harem-lit from, but we're dealing with magic in sort of, again, modern times. Only now we're dealing with a school, and the characters are interesting. Very interesting characters. Very interesting world. Really good book. Next up, Battlemaster's War by Nathan Pierce. Now, you guys already know Nathan Pierce is an author that I really, really enjoy. In fact, I've actually managed to get a couple of his books, and hopefully you guys are out there ordering indie authors' books as well. Battlemaster's War was the third so far in the series, and I gotta say, it was phenomenal. It was even better than book 2 and book 1. The series is just really, really growing and getting better and better every single time. Next up, Beware of Chicken. You guys should know this was one of my favorite books, and as the series has continued, it's remained one of my favorite series. This book is literally a must-read. The second any of the sequels come out, I read it. And I've reread the first one, Beware of Chicken, multiple times. I've read 2 and 3 multiple times, and my wife and I will just sit here talking about Beware of Chicken sometimes. We're eating dinner, watching a TV show, something will make us think of one of the characters, Big D or something, and we'll just start talking about the book. It's a ton of fun. It's a ton of fun. You guys cultivation, comedy, somewhat isekai, fantasy, Middle Ages adjacent, fantasy-esque. It's just fun all the way around. You guys, you have to read it. I cannot recommend it enough. Rise of the Winter Wolf by Shane Purdy. This has turned out to be, it was probably through 2023, it was my second favorite lit RPG series. Once again, we've got the System Apocalypse type of thing going on, only now we end up with what is essentially a multiversal television show going on, and a reality show, and our main character gets, kind of sucked into it. Now, in a lot of ways, he turns out eventually to be somewhat overpowered. The only silly thing in this, what kind of caught me as somewhat silly, is the background of his family and how he got trained. But aside from that, it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. And he does kind of, sort of, in a way, end up somewhat overpowered, but at the same time, he gets his ass kicked, or comes really close to getting his ass kicked quite a few times. And the world building. I mean, it's weird because this book is theoretically stuck in a dungeon, and he's just a TV show. It's basically Survivor in a dungeon. And yet, Shane is building out this huge world, this huge multiverse, and all these little hidden things underneath it that come out in later books. And it's fun, while still leaving these questions of the beginnings, and we're building this world, we're building these future conflicts, these present conflicts, we're just building his own power and attempting to survive. At the same time, we're getting these questions: who is he? Why is he? How did it happen? What are progenitors and primordials and all this other crap? And it's fun. And the most recent book came out not too long ago. I will be reviewing it, and I got to tell you, it was the best of them all, and it's already a fantastic series. Next one of my favorite authors. In fact, you guys might notice I am actually wearing a shirt with one of his books on it. Andrew Moriarty. This time I'm talking about an author instead of a particular series, because he has two series that are absolutely fantastic. Adventures of a Jump Space Accountant is just a ton of fun. And then his Imperial series, Imperial Deserter, Imperial Hijacker. And I say this every single time, but if you guys are fans, if any of you sci-fi readers out there are fans of Omega Force, you really have to read the Imperial series. That crew, a lot of their interactions and how they talk to each other, it kind of satisfies the same little humor twinges that I get from Omega Force, if not even more so. It's a very interesting crew. Very interesting crew. You guys got to read them. Both series are absolutely fantastic, and I really encourage everybody to read them if you're a sci-fi fan. They're great. Absolutely phenomenal. The Moon and the Desert by Robert E. Hampson. Now, this was an awesome book. Now, this is a sci-fi book that's more set in the near future, and it deals a lot with cybernetics, and Dr. Hampson actually does have, I think, multiple PhDs, and is a member of a group, I guess you could say, of science fiction authors and PhDs that like to discuss the potential futures in various fields. In a way, you'd almost think of them as futurists, and that's what the Moon of the Desert really covers. It's mostly looking at not just space travel, but just even work in space. How space eventually will or could become an industry in and of itself, and how cybernetics could advance enough to actually become something that is useful in an everyday instance, and it even goes so far as to show how people that nowadays are considered handicapped or crippled could eventually become some of the best options for certain types of industry thanks to cybernetics. Right now, if somebody loses both of their arms, there's not a whole lot that they can do. But in the future, somebody who loses both of their arms and ends up with some cybernetics could end up being very useful in construction, medicine, mechanics, depending on the type of arms they end up implanted with, and especially space travel and work in space. Really, really cool. Very, very eye-opening. Very interesting read, and I had trouble putting it down. It was just fantastic. If you're a science fiction fan, you really got to give The Moon and the Desert a try. It's awesome, while also covering some topics that really should be covered. Next up, this one was a lot of fun. Who Shot the Mouse? Who Shot the Mouse? And I forgot to write down the author. I can't remember his name right now. But Who Shot the Mouse is a ton of fun. It is a private eye noir type of book set back in the early days of Disneyland, back when Walt Disney was still alive, or right near the tail end of that. I can't quite remember. But mostly it's a noir detective novel, and it's awesome, guys. I'll definitely have the link for this one down below. You guys got to check it out. Who Shot the Mouse is a ton of fun and really good read. Really good read. Really difficult to put down. Now, I said everything was in no particular order, and those 9 were in no particular order, but my number 1 favorite book of 2023 was actually one of the first books I read in 2023. It's one that I reviewed back in January, I want to say. The Deep Man by Michael Mersal. And what's really cool with this, what's really interesting with this book, is the fact that this was a debut novel. This was a debut novel that was one of the best science fiction books I have ever read. The world building, or in this case, I guess you'd call it the galaxy building, because they do have interstellar travel, not intergalactic, of course, but interstellar travel, and the way the society that's been built up, and how it works, and how it even makes swords something that once again becomes useful and almost standard in a world that has, laser guns and stuff like that. Really, really interesting. Really, really good. Again, the best science fiction book that I've read in a long time. Definitely the best science fiction book I read last year. And the sequel was possibly even better. So you guys should check that one out as well. Anyways, this one's already got a little bit long, probably because I went off on a tangent on the first book. Thank you, everybody, for watching. See you next time. Bye now. Welcome back. So for our contests. So for the contest here on the main channel, I'm going to be running 2 contests for this month. The contest will end at the end of April. Just email me at reviewsinten@gmail.com. Put contest in the subject line so I do not skip past it. I do get a lot of emails. And I'm actually going to be running 2 contests. Email me for the first contest. Email me your suggestions for 4 categories of books. You don't have to send me 4 suggestions. Some people don't read certain categories, and that is certainly fine. Just email me your suggestions of books that I have not reviewed. Doesn't mean I haven't read them, but that I have not reviewed, in 4 genres: sci-fi, lit RPG, cultivation, and the harem lit. Of course, I'm missing fantasy, but that comes up a lot with cultivation and with lit RPG and with the harem lit, so I'm just kind of leaving that one out. And I will pick of my favorites out of that. I will pick a winner, and I have a signed copy of Advent 9 by T. Alan Horn, and that will be going to that winner. I do actually have a bunch of books for further contests as well, but it's a signed copy of Advent 9 by T. Alan Horn that I will send out to the winner. And the second contest going on the main channel is pick a book. Pick a book that you've read that I have not reviewed, and email me a quick little personal review. If you can talk me into reading that book, the winner of that one will receive a signed copy of J.J. Thorne's Apocalypse Assassin, right? Yeah, Apocalypse Assassin, which I've reviewed this one. I've also reviewed Advent 9. So again, put contest in the subject line, and if you're interested in maybe getting a complete set of Mickey Kare's or the Heavy Weight of It All Book 1, also signed, check out our Patreon. I've got 2 contests that will be going on there as well. Thanks everybody. Hope you guys enjoy the videos, and don't forget to email me. Bye now.